Shy Guy Talks, Episode 2.
Hello, mate.
Hello.
How's life? How are things?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Carrying on.
All right.
Yeah.
So I've known you for over a year now.
Yeah.
I guess the first question is, why China? We're both here in China. We both met in China. Why did you? What made you want to come to China, and why are you here now?
Yeah. It started with, I've always wanted to travel, and I've always been, since I left university, basically traveling in one form or another. And there, one time I was in Vietnam. New Year had just passed. It was a similar time of year to as it is now, at the beginning of January. And it's inherently a time where you sort of reflect on stuff, right? So and at that moment, it just sort of came to me like, why don't you go teach English as a foreign language? Now, I had previously known that this was possible, of course. Like, I'd heard that other people had done it. I'd spoken to people that had done it. But before then, it had not occurred to me that I would do that kind of thing. But then all of a sudden, something just clicked. It was like, why not? You know what I mean? Just one of those ideas that come from the ether.
Yeah.
I talked about it in my book previously as something that somebody could do, but it never occurred to me that I would be the one that would do that kind of thing. But it just, it felt right. First of all, because it's something I'd never done before, and I felt like I'd be good at it, and it would be also a challenge. So it slightly out of my comfort zone, because I'd never done anything like that before. But still, would also give me the opportunity to travel, because what I was missing with the way I was traveling before was that sense of stability. Now, I'm usually okay with, and I felt totally comfortable with moving from city to city, hostel to hostel, on my own for months at a time. But after a particularly long period of traveling at that time, this was about 2018. No, hang on. Yeah, 2017, yeah. New Year 2017. It was starting to get wearing a bit thin, you know. So I think we all crave that kind of stability in some way or another. There's certain kinds of people that are better suited to traveling than others, but I think all of us to some level enjoy having a stable roof over your head, knowing where your food is coming from, having a stable income, which you don't necessarily get when you're traveling in that way, sort of like that wanderer lifestyle. So I felt like teaching English as a foreign language would give you the best of both worlds, being able to live in a different country, experience that sort of culture shock, right, which I crave.
Yeah.
Whilst also having that stability with the income and this, that, and the other, being able to settle in one place and sort of ingratiate myself in the culture a little bit as well, and get involved in the other things that you miss out on, a friendship circle that you miss out when you're traveling by yourself from place to place. You meet some great people, but then they're within 3 or 4 days they're off to their next place, and then it's very rarely you hear from them again. So having the friendship group that lasts more than a few days was attractive to me as well. So actually, it wasn't actually that much to do with the job. It was the other things that come with it. It was the secondary effects that I wanted, and I felt like teaching English was a good way to do it. Why China? It's because I always liked China. I liked Asia, Asian things, Asian culture, Asian food, and I felt like China was a good place to do it. It's got a lot of demand for foreign teachers, and it'd be a good lifestyle for myself, and it turned out to be right. And it also turned out to be that I actually really enjoy the job. I thought it would be more of a grind than it has been, so I'm happy with that.
Excellent, good. I just want to go back to, obviously, I remember the first time we had food together. It was in the local restaurant here.
Yeah, just on the corner,
I think it was the day after I arrived, and
Yep.
you were coming back from Nanjing.
Yep.
And I remember we had a chat, and you were telling me about, we're talking about Mind Valley and whatnot, and I told you into coaching and whatnot. And obviously getting to know you a bit more, it's quite evident that you're a creative person. You write your articles, you also blog a lot. Is that something you've always had in you, the creativity? Where if I was to ask you to pinpoint where it came from, because obviously you went to film school as well, which is fantastic. So it's evident that you're creative. But is there like a certain, was it always within you, or was it do you look back and pinpoint a certain time when you thought, this is who I am, this is what I enjoy?
No, I think it's been there from the very beginning. Like, I'm interested in a lot of things. Ever since I was little. I didn't really have that one special thing that I was super duper good at, like the speciality. But I was interested in lots of things. I played music a little bit. I like to draw. I like to make the movies and play games and write stories and things like this. And that's stayed with me forever. So it's always been part of me, I suppose, that creative aspect. But I've never been a virtuoso in any of those things. So the difficulty is sort of like, how do you, because you have to feed it, your creativity. Otherwise, you just sort of like wither up. The difficulty is in how do you do that? Do you relegate it to just a hobby, something you do in your free time, or do you try and make a career out of it, which is super difficult? So I've sort of like settled on a halfway house, so to speak, with the YouTube channel, which allows me to make something productive for other people, I think, whilst also allowing me to express my creativity,
Yeah, absolutely.
And also with the columns, even though I suppose it is a little bit creative, even though I'm talking about very dry, serious topics. I'm not writing poetry or anything like that. So I suppose that's creative.
I mean, you're still in the game of creating, aren't you? Even if it's not as creative as the other endeavors.
You're still producing something out of my head. I suppose, it's creative in that way, yeah.
And just going back to that, obviously you do your columns, and obviously your blogs, and there's so many other things you do. Obviously now you're doing that, you're more exposed to different audiences, different people. When you first started doing this, for example, for people who are looking to do this now or getting into these different things.
You mean teaching English in China?
Just everything that you're doing, from teaching English to writing to recording. Okay, yeah. All these different things, you're more exposed than, I guess, the average person in terms of what you're doing. Is there a lot of fear or that comes into it when you're doing something like this for the first time, whether it's teaching or writing to an audience, or for example, even recording in like a busy shopping mall? Yeah. Okay, well, yes, of course. The answer is yes to all of those things. It's difficult for me to think right now as to if there's a link between all of those different avenues and the fear that comes with either of those. I don't know whether it's all the same or it's different. Yeah. Let's go with the last one you just said about filming in a mall or something like that. I think that's just very pragmatic, that kind of thing. It's just doing it until you get over it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was terrified of doing that a few years ago, like talking to myself on camera in public. No way, that's so strange. Yeah. But to do things, practice, do it, and then cringe, and do it again and cringe a little bit less, and so on and so forth until you don't cringe anymore. That's that advice. Also, remembering that, listen, think of it from the other point of view, of the other people that are supposedly judging you. If you see someone, a stranger, talking to themselves on a video, do you go, oh wow, yeah, that's weird, oh, what a weirdo? No, you don't. You go, oh, he's making a vlog. Yeah. that's good point. There's no judgment there at all. It's like neutral, complete. Most people, and if anybody did have a negative reaction, you think, what a wanker anyway. Why would you care what they think? Yeah. You know what I mean? I suppose I could go through each of these things and explain, the different fear, but I don't know, to answer your question, I'll be able to provide anything really succinct, I think a lot of what I do
involves having to overcome fears, and me having to do that, and also a lot of the things I produce are about overcoming these fears as well. But that's one of the main themes of my book as well. So yeah, that's super important. I still consider myself a sort of shy and reticent person, and there's some situations that still, the idea of them terrifies me.
Yeah.
Like doing a stand-up comedy show, that would kill me, man.
You've said that before, and I find that interesting, because obviously I've known you for a year, and obviously you do this teaching, you've done many presentations, you've been in front of audiences.
Yeah.
So why the thought of stand-up comedy?
I don't know, man. It just that I couldn't even think about doing it. I wouldn't know where to start.
Okay.
But maybe it's just the next thing, you know. I'm not necessarily going to do that, but you know, it's not my calling. But if it was my calling, then I'd find some way to get over it. You know, you have to listen to these things when they come to you, the sort of thing that keeps nagging at you. You know what I mean? Because we all have ideas every day that you don't necessarily have to follow. You know.
Yeah.
I might say, I could be a nuclear scientist. But is that just like a fantasy because you just happen to read an article about it or whatever?
Yeah.
Or is it something that keeps coming back? And the thing that keeps coming back over and over again, especially if you have the same sort of personality as me, who is interested in everything, the things that keep coming back years later, it's like, I should do that. I keep thinking of doing that. That's the thing you should do, in my experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think you just made a great point there. You said, obviously, if we're looking at someone else recording themselves, you think, he's making a vlog. But obviously, when you're doing it with yourself, you have this apprehension and fear. So is it, I guess, is this clearly a case of, the way we look at ourselves with more criticism compared to others? But it's hard to pinpoint that. But why do you think that is? Because I've been thinking about that myself. And, everyone else, anyone else who does anything, we look at them with, we let it slide. It's like, okay, it's completely fine. But when we're under the brush, it's a different story, isn't it? And I think that, I personally feel that stops many people from overcoming fears and taking on challenges. What's your take on that?
What's coming to mind right now is the evolutionary aspect, right?
Right.
So, if you were a Neanderthal, or even later than that, but still, your whole existence would depend on your standing within the village, right? Because that's your whole world, basically. That's the society.
Yeah.
What society thought of you would have a direct relationship to whether you got fed as well. Because if you end up pissing people off for whatever reason, they could just as well banish you. And then that doesn't mean, I can't hang out with them anymore. It means you probably might die starving in the desert. You know what I mean? So these sort of things, the social anxiety, the fear, the over-exaggeration of what other people might think is a survival mechanism that we've evolved. And that has not adapted to a modern society in which if Johnny Big Bollocks doesn't like you, it probably has zero effect on your life,
Yeah.
It won't stop you in 2 years' time waking up in the middle of the night thinking about the fact that this dude doesn't like you. You haven't spoken to him in 2 years. You still think, and then you'll be in the shower. I do this all the time. I'll be in the shower and then I'll think of something that happened 13 years ago and go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's literally has no consequence to where you are now, but it's like still makes you cringe and you feel it right here.
Yeah.
But there's something to do with that, I think. The over-exaggeration is like a heuristic that we've evolved.
Yeah.
Because if we underestimate it, we'd be dead. So we overestimate dangers all the time in many things in our life. So, but it comes to the point where in a modern society, you need something more than survival, right, to be truly fulfilled. Survival, especially you and me, or Western people, privileged backgrounds, historically speaking, at least. The chance of non-survival is very, very slim. So, I mean, for young people like us, But clearly, human beings are something more than just survival. So in order to have a proper fulfilled life, you need to put things in their proper place, I suppose. Remind yourself that everything will probably be fine, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It probably will be fine. But the consequences of not really getting out of your comfort zone and challenging yourself will be long-term agony, because there will always be that slight dissatisfaction. Like in your reptilian brain is saying, yes, I'm safe, but ultimately there'll be that nagging thing underneath, like, I should have done that thing, you know, that everyone said I was good at, and that kept nagging at me, you know, again and again, as I was just talking about. Did you ask me how to overcome these sort of things?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to know what your take was on it, but you've explained that brilliantly. I think the key point there is, especially from what you said, is, which is clearly evident, is that we've evolved as human beings, but it seems like the brain hasn't, right? We're still primed for survival, and immediately you see anything different, your brain's like, this is dangerous. I can't do this. I've got to shy away from it. And I think that's clearly,
even if it's nonsense.
Yeah,
like
that's the thing.
Yoga.
Yeah.
Like when I did a video when I was in Australia of these guys, and they were like, "No, do you want? We're just gonna do some yoga, acro yoga right here." And I had my camera there. And I was like, "Do you mind if I film you?" And they're like, "Yeah, all right." And I filmed them for a bit, and they said, "Do you want to go?" And I had that immediate like for fear, like, what on earth's going to happen? It's bloody yoga.
Yeah.
Like, what actually? It's the same if you saw a poisonous snake. It's the same feeling. What's actually going to happen if I do some yoga? You know, if you really rationally think about it, but it's clearly something deep on a you know, really survival basis. You know, the true reptilian brain thinking there. It's not even thinking. It's like super fast. It's like, it's just an instinctual punch to the gut. Like, no, don't do this.
Yeah.
But something said like, okay, but that's actually a sign that you should go do that thing. If you are in the business of having a more expansive and fulfilled life, you know, should be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. And just to elaborate on that quickly. So you've said that obviously there's that sign where it's showing you that you should do it, but that fear comes in. Can you just describe, for example, the feeling when you did the yoga, the feeling after? Oh,
it was invigorating. Part of it was the act itself was very like, I was surprised at, you know, like how buzzed it made me feel. Part of it was just to give more context, it's not just normal yoga, it's acro yoga is when like you're balancing on people. So this dude had like his legs, he was laying on his back but with his legs straight up in the air, and I was balancing my hips on the soles of his feet.
Wow.
And like straight up like that. So if he was like that, I was like that.
Yep.
You know. So I was like letting this dude, you know, hold me up in the air.
Yeah.
So it was, but after I did that, it was like, wow, so intoxicating.
Yeah.
Is the word I used. Partly because of that, and partly because I'd overcome that thing, you know. And I've done it on camera, and I can show people, and that's very exciting and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so you get it's a double effect, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's something you wanted to do, really, you know? It's usually not something you don't want to do, right? Unless you're talking about going to the gym or something.
Yeah.
If you do sort of like feel this fear and there's that nagging thing that you should do it, there's some reason why you think you should do it, right? It's not because you're not afraid because you think it's going to be terrible. If you think it's going to be terrible, don't do it.
Exactly.
No, I'm not saying you should go do stupid things and take inordinate risks for no reason. But clearly there's something inside you that's saying that this will be beneficial to you in some way. So you get that benefit, plus you get the benefit of the endorphin boost of overcoming that fear. And all of a sudden, it's like, then you realise, I was so wrong about being afraid of this. It's unbelievable. And there's so many times, it doesn't matter how many times you do it, you'll always have the same feeling of, what on earth was I worrying about?
Yeah. I think you've absolutely nailed it there, because I think we as a collective, as people, we've got that deep desire for more. We're always yearning for more, even
Yes.
though the brains are primed for survival. And there's always that thing that's like the brain itself telling us this is not, don't do it. But once you do it, I think you described it perfectly. It's intoxicating. I think but as a collective, as human beings, we shy away from this, and even now, and even though you've got the experience of doing something similar, the next one still feels just as hard as the first one. And I think that's one thing that's really tough for us generally as humans to get over. But I think you've absolutely nailed it. It's that same feeling every time, which is, why didn't I just do it?
Yeah.
Why didn't I just do it?
Yeah.
But thank you for expanding on that.
But it is a habit you can get. It's a habit you can get into of taking these sort of wild pokes, into the unknown.
And I think, to be fair, the more you do it, the easier it does to get. And that's something I personally, from my experience, would like to stress, that the more you get yourself out there.
But the less the fear matters to you.
Yeah.
I think I'd put it that way. Like, it doesn't completely go away.
Mm-hmm.
Because there might be some good reason why you're afraid.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you shouldn't be afraid ever.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, great points, mate. All right, wow. We need to get onto this now.
Yeah.
You're obviously well-travelled. You've been
Yeah.
around a lot of places. I was at work earlier today. I just finished a class, and I was thinking to myself, man, I'm living the dream. And I remember we speak about this regularly. Do you ever wake up and think, man, I'm in China? And it hit me again when I was sitting on the chair. I had a class in about 30 odd minutes, and I was sitting there thinking, right, this is it. I'm living the dream. Obviously, I've got that trip planned in a couple of days, and I thought, I'm doing everything now that I've always wanted to do. I just wanted to know your thoughts on that. You wake up with the same feeling yourself, where you say, I can't believe we're in China. How does it feel to be right here, right now? Did you ever envisage yourself here, right now?
No, not really. But it depends on the time frame.
Okay.
I could, sort of see myself, maybe 2 years ago, I could have predicted it, or 3 years ago. Yeah. It is mad, yeah, I know what you're talking about. So this is when you've been living in a new place. People in China will have experienced this before. You've been living here for a fair amount of time, enough for it to become habitual and natural for you, and you've sort of gotten used to it, so to speak. But then once in a while, you'll go, holy shit, I'm in China. It's like, isn't that mad? Isn't that bonkers? Why would I be in China? Just sort of like pure wonderment at the position you're in.
Yeah.
And you look at it from a sort of like a really God's eye perspective. Like, that's mad. And almost looking at it from somebody else's perspective. Because if you tell somebody else back home, random Joe, oh yeah, I've just been in China. They go, China? Bloody hell, China. Oh God. It just sounds alien to them. You may as well have just said, I've just been on planet Plo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it does feel like that here sometimes, yeah. But I guess that's a good habit to get into. Well, it's not something you can consciously do, but it's a good thing to have happen to you.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. To sort of be thankful as well. Yeah. Because I'm thankful, because there's a lot to shout about being in China as a foreigner and doing this job.
Yeah.
We get treated very well.
Mm-hmm.
The lifestyle is very good. In Wuhu especially, the cost of living is really good compared to what we get paid. And there's a huge sense of stability, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Whilst also it's like, I could go down to the next village, and experience people who've never seen a foreigner before. And see a completely different life.
Yeah.
That sense as well, which is really interesting. Almost the best of both worlds, really. Which is awesome.
Reminds me of that bike ride we went on not too long ago, where we ended up in that village.
Yeah, we went down some weird alley.
Yeah.
And then there was a big long street, and it was full of sort of tatty and a bit run down. It seemed like a bit older buildings, right? They've been there for a few decades. Most of the stuff in Wuhu is, they've got new big skyscrapers and all this.
Yeah.
But in this area, there were quite old buildings, and there was some older people living in this. They were like, pulling goats down and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we were biking down there, and it was literally people would literally stop and go, lawai.
You can never get used to that, can you? I mean, I personally can't anyway. It's just every time you see someone look, you're like, wow, okay, they're looking at me. It's me. I'm different. But you've made some great points there. We do get treated really well. The cost of living is fantastic and very favourable for us. Obviously, it always helps to be able to speak the language. Yeah. And as I know firsthand, you have improved massively. Can you share your progress and how it's going, and how are you finding learning Mandarin so far?
Yeah, all right. So I started learning Chinese seriously about this time last year, actually. So I'd done a little bit before I came to China, and a little bit whilst I was here, but then for the few months previous to that. So, but January last year, I started doing it seriously, mostly through reading and listening to podcasts, using my app called Link, LINGQ. I'm not sponsored by them, but I think this app is the bee's knees. I think they're brilliant. So I'm at the point now where I can have a conversation with people. I can go to stores and get what I want, and I can order things, and I'm getting to the sort of stage where I can sort of talk in a bit more complex terms, when it starts getting into whether and then and although, stuff like that, more complex sentence structures other than, where is the bathroom, then it starts to get interesting then, because then you're communicating on a real human level, which is what you're really after, I think, if you're not just learning Chinese in order to do that thing, you find the bathroom and order a taxi and stuff. I'm interested in language learning a bit more than that, because I think it gives you a bit more of an access to the culture, because the culture is intertwined with the language, right? And there's certain things that cannot be expressed in a different language, okay? And it's incredible once you start to understand, which is a big key. When you start understanding, things open up for you. And also, the key moment is when you're listening to somebody speaking Chinese, a native speaker, and then you can understand what they say. It goes from being this weird gobbledygook blah, 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 to communication, and it's all of a sudden their soul is there in the language, and you can hear the tone that in which it's said, and all of a sudden there's a story going along with what it's like. Incredible. It's like boom, incredible. And especially if you're conversing with somebody, that's equally as intoxicating again. Like when you find that someone has said something to you in Chinese and that you understand it, that's one thing, that's amazing. And then all of a sudden you start, without even realizing it, speaking back in Chinese, and words that you weren't aware that you properly learned come back to you, and you give an answer to them, and then they understand it, and then they give an answer back, and you understand the answer, and you've actually got what you want. There's nothing better feeling in the whole world. It's brilliant. I recommend language learning to anybody, really. It's really fun.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah,
and I've had the same experience, and I can completely vouch for that. But you've said there where you're speaking and words will come back to you. Can you think of an example, for example, where you were speaking or conversing with someone, and suddenly all these words came back to you, and you really felt like, wow, I'm really getting to that level? Because I've had a few of them in the taxi and whatnot, but nothing really stands out. I don't know about yourself. So
it's difficult to pick up, think of specific examples, but there's times when I've been in the taxi and it's not just yes, I'm an English teacher. It's putting it in context and then actually have a back and forth, either asking you questions and then being able to communicate something. It's not perfect. It's not perfect Chinese, but you've communicated exactly what you wanted to say, or more or less what you wanted to say. And also, I had to go to the hospital and I had to get some medicine.
Yes, you told me about this.
and I only had to get my translator out once, which was something specific that I didn't know how to say. But apart from that, I had no problem. And then, to be able to, for example, the doc says, okay, here's your receipt. Go upstairs to the pharmacy and the man will tell you how to take your medicine. That's sort of a weirdly complicated sentence.
It is.
But I understood all of it. And I was like, I know exactly what I need to do. It's great. I don't need him to accompany me and point me up the stairs and go,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll go.
Yeah.
That's what I've got to do.
Oh, wow. Okay. Nice. Excellent. Right, Mike, I wanted to ask you, what city are we in?
We're in Wuhu.
Absolutely.
It's in Anhui province.
How did you end up here?
In Wuhu?
Yeah, in Wuhu.
That was just the job that was offered to me. I uploaded my CV to a website it's designed for finding people jobs, teaching English jobs, not necessarily just in China but all over the world. And I specified China as one of my countries. And they said, I got one back and they said there's this job in Wuhu, and I was like, what's a Wuhu? And then I researched it. The perks and the everything sounded good. And I was like, yeah, right.
Okay, because I was under the impression that you chose Wuhu from the...
No, that was just the one that was open.
Okay.
I just wanted to come.
Okay, you thought, right, this is it.
It was a dice roll because I was thinking about... that's why we wasn't too much of that. I did do my research because I was thinking about what do I actually want and weigh up the pros and cons because there's a lot to go into it, the benefits and the cost of living and this, the hours and all that. And when I put it all together, I was like, this is a pretty good deal. But there were so many cities on my list that I didn't know much about. And I'm like, who knows your Zhangzhou from your Hongzhou to your Guangzhou to your Wuhu?
Yeah.
There's only so much research you could do on the internet, about these different cities. And they all look sort of nice. Obviously, they're not going to show the shitty parts on Google, are they?
Of course, yeah.
So, went, yeah, fine. Wuhu it is.
Yeah. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Obviously, like you said, you did your research. I know you said you saw Colin's video, which I did as well. What was your first impression?
That was probably a big reason. Like, I saw the video and it looked all right, livable, So maybe I would have picked somewhere else if it weren't for that. So there's that. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
My first impression of the video.
No, actually,
of being here.
Yeah, I've been here when you first got here.
That was kind of peaceful and nice. The other cities I've been to in China up to that point were very high energy, polluted, noisy, and people a bit rude. But in Wuhu, I found that just sort of nice to be in, and the people in the shops weren't sort of like okay, yeah, fine, bye bye. They were like, smiling and would ask me questions and stuff like that. So that's a big thing. Comparatively peaceful to a lot of cities.
I forgot about that. This wasn't your first city in China. You travelled to China before.
I had a brief trip in China before.
Yeah.
I was in Hong Kong and decided I've never been to mainland China before.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Okay.
Let's go. So I just hopped over the border into Shenzhen and then to Guangzhou and then Nanning. So I visited the south before.
Right, okay. So you've been to 3 cities prior to Wuhu in mainland? Yeah.
But don't forget I had training in Beijing as well.
Of course, yes. That was a laugh, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Beijing was nice. It was like a little 2-week holiday, really. Yeah, it was nice. Met some really nice people, and it was like after so many months or whatever of being in England, it was like, yes, this is me again. I'm traveling again. This is fantastic, and I'm meeting all these cool people and it's amazing new food and top of the world. Yeah, great.
Have you been back to Beijing since?
No.
No, me neither. Did you explore much or do much traveling when you were there?
So I saw Tiananmen Square and the Forbidden City. Apart from that, not really. No, a few other things. Yeah, but I didn't see the Great Wall or anything like that.
Yeah, same. What did you make of it though? I mean, obviously it was a good laugh one.
Beijing itself, it's difficult to really get your head around because it's so big. So I'd have to stay there for longer to really judge it properly. But it was very big, very noisy, very busy.
Because for me personally, like looking back, just saying I've been to I've spent time in Beijing. I've spent time in Shanghai.
Mad to say
Really,
that,
like
yeah.
even 2-3 years ago, if you said that to me then, I would have thought, and that's the beauty of life. You think, nah, no, why would I be there? What business would I have there?
Yeah.
But things happen, don't they? And I think it goes back to what you said earlier, where the feeling when you're like, damn, I'm in China. You get that state of bliss. And you're like, this is really nice. It feels really good.
This presence, and when you sort of like it zooms you out.
Yeah.
I don't know what triggers it really, apart from just a thought you have, or it's just something random that happens sometimes. Like it pulls you out, so you can look at your life in perspective.
Yeah.
And that's a gift. So I think we should be thankful for it, because I'm not totally convinced that everyone has them.
Yeah.
Has those moments. You know what I mean? Some people seem to just go on autopilot for their whole lives.
Absolutely.
So, but we'll go on autopilot. Like we get into our routines.
Yeah.
We take things for granted and we get used to things. So, yeah, we've got to be thankful for those moments.
And it's nice, like you said, it's something that I don't even know if all people get them. So it's nice when you have them. It kind of brings you back down to earth. It reminds you, hang on, enjoy what you have right now. Because although you're in this fast-paced lifestyle, 'cause you've got your routines and you've got this and this and this to do. Sometimes it's nice just to take that deep breath and think, yeah, I've got a lot going on. It's nice.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it could be a lot worse.
No,
that's why I always say when people ask me these sort of questions.
Yeah.
Strangers, anyway. It's like, what do you? Life in China's all right. It could be a lot worse, especially in the COVID period and everything like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, thanks be.
Yeah, but talking of presents, obviously, right now the present we're in, woohoo. What's your overriding feeling of this city? Do you like it? Do you enjoy it? Do you like living here?
Yes, it's nice. It's good. It's fine for me right now. Like, I wouldn't. I'm not going to tell everyone watching this, you've got to get to Wuhan, man.
Yeah,
it's so good. I'm not going to say that because I did meet one Ukrainian girl who said this is the best city in China, and I thought that's a strong claim. That's a very strong claim.
Yeah,
it's fine, especially to live and work. It's relatively cheap. Good food, just about everything you need. There's some things that a bigger city affords you. Just more things to do and stuff like that. Just a bigger community of people.
Yeah, and
just the throng of being that high energy place that some people miss. But it's fine. What can I say? It's exactly what I needed when I first came. Whether it will be something I need in the future, I don't know. But I'm totally happy where I am right now.
So you're still open to the idea of, depending on, because obviously future needs change, right? But right now, you're just focusing right now.
Yeah, I'm willing to listen to everything that comes my way and go where I need to go.
Yeah, copy that.
In order to copy.
Yeah, copy that. Yeah, lovely, good stuff.
Yeah.
I know you enjoy a nice drink. You enjoy getting out there.
Sure.
What do you think of the social life here? Because obviously at work it's myself, you, James, and now Ethan, which is fantastic. Well, obviously, as you know, compared to other cities, a smaller city generally will not have as many foreigners. Is that really an issue for you? Or?
It's not been too much of an issue. It would be nice to have sort of that sort of wider pool of people to socialise with. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you guys. Absolutely not. But yeah, it's not one of the biggest things for me. Like for other people, it really might be.
Yeah.
But I see some of the things that happen in bigger cities. You know what really happens is that there's sort of like a weird thing going on where ours is small enough that we sort of get on.
Yes.
And if it was absolutely massive social circle, it would be fine, because then if you don't like them, you can hang out with them.
Yeah.
But then there's sort of like this middle thing, like in the middle area where the international teachers in Nanjing, they all sort of know each other, and they don't bloody get along. There's a lot of drama, and I can't abide by that. I can't cope with drama.
Yeah.
I can't cope with can't cope with everyone knowing your business and things like that. So yeah, it could be worse. Like, it could be better, but it could be worse. Yeah.
That's one thing that strikes immediately. What I immediately realised about you, you're a nice, chilled, mellow guy, aren't you? You take things easy. You're a gentleman. Fair to say?
I'd like to, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sort of like,
Yeah, top guy.
Not big troughs.
But I mean,
like
you're not someone who's ever looking for drama. You're
oh man, I can't cope with that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's evident from your demeanour and the way you behave. So yeah.
No,
nice.
I'm if you go by the 5 personality tests, I'm quite agreeable for a man.
Ooh.
I get on, so you have the agreeableness, the Jordan Peterson talks about this.
Okay.
The neuroticism, conscientiousness, openness, which is where creativity comes from.
Okay.
And something else. Men in general are not as agreeable as women in general.
Right.
Which means they're more likely to stand up for themselves, more likely to start fighting, less likely to go along with the crowd, so to speak. And this is talking very generally. There's obviously some crossover there, but I'm definitely on the less agreeable, more agreeable side of when it comes to men. So I'm chill with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. When most people start like going, did you believe what he just said? And I was like,
I think it's a really nice way to be. You're welcoming, and it's definitely nice. Especially, for example, if I can talk about my experience when I first came here, the fact that you said, I'll show you around the day after when you get back from Nanjing. Obviously, I think one thing in life is you forget things you buy, but you never forget the way people make you feel, the way people treat you.
Well, I'm really pleased about that.
Yeah, and I can,
yeah, because I know that whenever you go to I've experienced it enough. Whenever you go to a new place, not just a new place of work, but a new place to live, new country, that it's a lot to process.
Yeah.
What you don't need on top of that is feeling completely lost and not knowing what you're doing. So I try to give that back a little bit, give you a hand.
And it's much appreciated. Right, Mike, I wanted to touch on your book.
Yeah.
Shy Guy's Guide to Travelling, correct?
Yeah.
I remember in Sanya, I was in my room, and to my delight, you popped in and said, "I've got something for you, Jeff." And I wasn't expecting that. I didn't think you'd brought it with you. And obviously I read it. And
a bit of holiday reading, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I really enjoyed it. I think you made some great points, especially for people who... is it fair to say it's generally targeted to people looking to travel for the first time?
Yes.
I kind of got that vibe
Yes.
from it, yeah. Absolutely great. You made some great points. That was, I think you wrote that, was that in 2017? I remember now.
Did it come out in 2017? I can't remember. Around that sort of period.
Yeah.
I think I wrote it in 2016.
Wrote it in 2016, yeah.
Yeah, I remember now. Yep.
And I remember we're talking about potentially another book, but we didn't really delve into that. Have you got any plans to potentially write something else in the future? Your own
One
book
day
again?
I'm sure I will, but I don't have a really strong idea that's leaping out to me that needs to be written.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it for a bit.
Okay.
And also I still feel like my writing needs to get better. The more I write, I realise I need, I need to improve my writing, But, so I haven't read my book in a long time. I might cringe at it if I read it again.
But
I feel like my writing...
That's fine, isn't it? I mean, yeah, that's 4 years ago now, so you've grown a lot.
But that's a good sign, really, if you're a writer, and then if you look back on your writing and go, ugh, that's fine, that's good, because then you're actually looking from that sort of exalted perspective that you've actually improved, so you know where you've gone wrong, so that's fine. But yeah, I don't know, I don't have any really strong, maybe I'll write about travelling again, maybe not, I don't know.
I think there's no doubt that you definitely will release another book, especially with...
I've got loads more stories to tell.
Oh.
So at the moment I have stories, but I don't have a strong link. The real strong core of the original book is about the wanting to go travelling but having that reticence and how to overcome some of those obstacles in order to get to something that is better than you we thought it was going to be.
Mm.
It's more important in more aspects of your life. It has more effect on more aspects of your life than you think there is, you know. And it doesn't just need to be a big bender.
Mm. Yeah.
Which I really want to emphasise.
Yeah.
Because, you know, people go, oh, travellers. You know, oh, okay, yeah. You defined yourself, did you? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I have more stories and more travelling since then. So
Yeah.
I've got some funny stories, but no real like core idea to really carry it through. So enjoy the book. And
But let's go back to that book.
yeah.
What was, like, when you decided to write that, you said in the summer 2016, what was the real, like, inspiration behind that? Because the fact that you decided to do that, I remember we spoke about it briefly and you said you're ready for a new project, but I'm sure there's a bit more to it.
Yeah.
What really made you think?
Yeah. Well,
"Right,
whilst I
can't
was
write a
travelling,
book"?
I've been writing notes already. Like, just to sort of process to myself what was going on, because there was a lot of stuff going on at once, and so I needed to put it into perspective and filter it all out.
Yes, mate. Yeah.
Some of those things actually turned into, you know, usable prose. And then New Year came around. New Year, inevitably, I don't do this on purpose, but New Year comes around, something usually happens where I'm like, let's try something new.
Yeah.
So, I'd also seen that a lot of people have been self-publishing. It's sort of like in my circle, and also people I've been following have been self-publishing. And I thought to myself, well, if they can do it, well, I can bloody well do it, can't I? So I thought, all right, let's settle down and do it. Then I'll give myself 6 weeks to write it. I'll do 2 hours or whatever a morning.
Yeah.
And write it. And then wrote it.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought, okay, what can I write about? And then I found it really easy. I didn't have writer's block. It was great. I had a number of things from my notes that I thought, okay, that could be expanded upon. Yeah, I got lots more to say about that.
Yeah.
And and there's, okay, so let's deliver value, you know. And so there's a lot of links and stuff in the book, like practical advice as well, which I think is important.
So there was no doubt it was always going to be about traveling, especially based on your notes. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought, because I wanted to write an article, and I thought I have a lot to say, more than an article.
A long article, wouldn't it?
So yeah, I'd already been. I think, what was I doing? Had I already been writing? Yes, I'd already been writing on liberty.me at that point, which has sort of gone cold, that website. But since then, but yeah. I thought, yeah, why not? It was really simple as that. Yeah. Something I could do. Yeah.
And then obviously once you got it published and whatnot.
Yeah.
So how does it work essentially? Because obviously I'm looking to not anytime soon, but at some point myself.
Do it.
You've got it all written out. I guess you just did it on your computer on Word or something.
Microsoft Word.
Yeah, simple as that.
Yep.
You find
what you need is after that is you pay somebody to format it, which will be viewable in an EPUB version and on print version.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft Word is formatted to look good on a screen.
Right.
On your computer screen, but it needs to be formatted for Kindle and for print version. So you pay somebody to do that.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it's a Word document that you turn into a PDF.
And then you obviously you choose your cover and whatnot. You design your cover.
I didn't design it. I paid somebody.
Yeah.
So I used a website called 99designs.com.
Okay.
Where you pitch. No, wait. No, you have a, what do you call it? I don't know. But you say what you want.
Yeah, yeah.
And then a bunch of designers come in and pitch.
Oh.
They say, hey, that sounds good. Here's what, a rough draft.
Yeah.
And then you whittle it down over time. Some of the things you get are really weird. One of them had like a penguin standing next to a suitcase in the shape of a trainer.
Okay.
With laces. It was like, what was he on when he did that one?
Penguin.
What's the penguin got?
What animals?
I was like, it's really bad, but like in an interesting way.
Yeah.
But I was delighted with what eventually, and it cost me £100.
Okay.
You know, not bad at all.
No,
for
absolutely not.
Better than a lot of self-published ebooks. Some of it's shocking.
Yeah,
It's like a terrible pixelated photograph with red Times New Roman lettering.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that's the worst font. I hate that font.
It's like you're just screaming, "I did not try." That should be the name of the book. I did not try.
There's a reason it's one of the default fonts on Word or whatever.
And you can see it. It's so common that you know exactly what font it is just looking at it.
So how, just the thought of me holding my book for the first time, I don't know about you, but I'm really sentimental about these things. It's like my precious. How was it for you? Like, obviously,
It's weird, man.
The cover's been designed and whatnot. You see your name on your book, you're like, yeah, this is my piece of art. How was it?
It was...
I'm guessing you're feeling quite a few emotions, like, because,
mostly sort of, I don't know, not embarrassment.
Okay.
Sort of like, oh my God. I didn't get too sentimental about it.
Okay.
I was proud when it came out.
Yeah.
And everyone was really excited.
Mm.
And luckily, I get, here's the thing, your mum's always going to say, your book's great, son.
Yeah.
But I get reviews on Amazon that I don't know who they're from. There's people who found it randomly on Amazon and they really liked it. So I'm mostly happy with them ones, you know, rather than people I know who read it. But it still delights me when somebody, I'd say, okay, read my book. When I was in Thailand, met these Canadian girls, and one of them said, okay, I'm going to download your book and read it.
Oh.
And I was waiting for a bus, and I could see that she had a Kindle with her, and she's like engrossed in my book.
Wow.
And I was like, that's good. Like, that's not faking it. Like, she's not like, you know, she's like, oh my God, she's really in suspense over my story, you know.
And didn't you say, didn't your sister recommend this to one of her friends and they absolutely loved it and really changed their mind? Was it?
My sister's friend recommended it to her friends.
Yep.
And apparently he was like totally inspired.
Yeah.
He was like, that's it. I'm going to Canada, where he was going. I'm
Brilliant.
packing my suitcase. I'm on. And I was like, wow, that's amazing.
But that must have been really nice to have that message relayed back to you, right? That wow. Because obviously we look at things from our own experience, and when I've obviously had people read the blog and think, wow, I'm starstruck, and when they say this, and knowing that someone, you really helped someone make a decision that they always wanted to make all along. But
very, very gratifying, yeah.
That's
the
absolutely
most important thing, more than saying, oh, I'm an author.
Yeah,
I'm a bit embarrassed by all that, to be honest. because I know how much little effort it takes to self-publish on Amazon. Like, why we all don't have a book on Amazon, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's a lot of shit out there on Amazon, but like, there's so many people who are incredibly intelligent who could write something very interesting and productive who don't. So that part, I'm not like braggy about. Oh yes, I have a book. Oh, yes. Because it's very easy to do.
You should be.
You could write absolute bollocks and you could be technically self-published tomorrow if you want. You could write random letters on a page.
But yours isn't bollocks, is it? That's
no.
Thing, so it was. It's. I mean,
that's what I'm saying is the content and the actual pragmatic value that people get from it is the most gratifying thing.
Yep.
Rather than saying, "Oh, I'm a published author."
Right. Still nicer. Is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, lovely, mate. Have you got anything else you'd like to add? What, for example, what do you eat on Friday nights?
Friday nights. Is it chippy tea on the Friday nights?
Yeah, it
and then on
is.
Saturday it's the Chinese.
Yeah.
And Sunday it's the chicken dinner. Or is it? What does he say?
It's roast beef.
It's roast beef. Roast beef.
Chicken will do. No,
I don't know what that's got to do with what we've just been talking about.
No, nothing at all. Right, top man, that was lovely. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Oh yeah, what do I need to promote? Shy Guy Travel.
Yes,
Subscribe.
please.
The Shy Guy's Guide to Travelling
Great book.
on Amazon. On Kindle and print version. Paperback. What else do I need to promote? That's it.
The YouTube channel and the book. That's all. What about your oh no, your columns are not related, but
No, not really.
no. But have you thought about blogging as well, like properly blogging about anything, whatever's relevant to you? Because I think you've got a lot of wisdom and knowledge that could
maybe.
But I mean, it depends if it's not you've got to be feeling it, right? So some people tell us to do things, but if it's not, it's
the
got.
column I'm doing right now is like, even if it's not that much, it's still quite a lot of thinking power.
Right.
Or
Okay.
Wednesday, to make it acceptable. So maybe.
Yeah, maybe good. You've got a lot to offer.
Cheers, Jeff.
No worries. Copy that, yeah?
Yeah, copy that.
Right, signing out. Shy Guy Travel.
Thanks very much, Tony.